And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Nicholas, is it Nicholas Nick Anderson? Or sorry, Nicholas Nick Thompson. Sorry. Who asked the question? And I was just not in the mood to make the thumbnail specialized. Green Lantern Zuko versus Yellow Lantern Azula. Like I said, maybe in post, maybe if later on today, maybe I'll alter this thumbnail to look like a Green Lantern suit and a Yellow Lantern if I'm up for it. But I'll be honest, I'm just being like, I'm feeling lazy. I did it with Itachi versus Sasuke, I think it was, with lantern rings. But yeah. Anyway, so we know Azula and Zuko pretty well. I mean, both are highly skilled hand-to-hand combatants. Both are actually master firebenders. Azula is the better firebender in the long run, simply because she had mastered blue flames instead of regular flames. Azula is very conniving and underhanded how she fights. Zuko's a lot more honor-bound. That said, in terms of raw physical skill, okay, so where does Zuko actually take an edge in raw physical skill over Azula? Or in any skill, for that matter, from what we've seen in the show. Because unfortunately, I didn't read the comics they did for after the series ended. Apart from the comic about what happened to Zuko's mom. Azula most certainly has a hand-to-hand combat edge over Zuko, although Zuko's good in a straight fight. She's just proven to just be better. We've seen it multiple times. She bests him in just straight hand-to-hand combat. By the end of the series, though, Zuko, okay, let's be clear. When that last Agni Kai happened, Azula was completely unhinged. Even Zuko said, I can take her. She's off. And sure enough, had she not fought dirty, he would have won that fight. I don't think any of us are arguing if she didn't try to fight dirty and aim for Katara instead of him, he would have won that fight. But that is an unhinged Azula versus a not unhinged Azula. If Azula were on her game, Iroh even said, you're probably not going to be able to beat her on your own. And we don't know what the answer to that really is, if he could straight out beat her in a fight by the end of the series. But he was fully confident he could take her as she was then, and he did. So I would argue, at least in terms of firebending, she may have the hotter fire because of the blue fire, but she's probably edges them out still, but she's relatively competent to her, or comparable at that point to her. So there's that. I'd actually also say that Zuko can take a hit and keep going a lot more effectively than I think Azula can, because Azula doesn't take hits very often, whereas Zuko did. Mind you, getting hit by lightning was kind of put it down, but that's getting hit by lightning. And finally, we have not really seen her wield weapons in the same way Zuko has. I'd have to assume Zuko is just straight the better swordsman than her. Now, why do I bring all this up? Because A, it speaks to what their imaginations might create while using lantern rings. And B, it speaks to how competent they are in their skill sets as well. So how competently they could even use the lantern ring. Beyond that, though, we have to take into consideration their emotional states. Because obviously the Lantern Core of Will the Green Lanterns are the Lantern Core of willpower, whereas the Yellow Lanterns are Lantern Core of fear. Now, definitely speaking, if we were looking at this, say, Season 1 and 2 Zuko versus Season 1 and 2 Azula, I'm going to tell you right now, that's an Azula win. The problem with Zuko, when it comes to willpower, is that his entire journey is about, finding his honor, redemption, understanding what his destiny ultimately is. And because of that, Season 1 and Season 2, Zuko is struggling a lot with his conviction of where he actually stands. And therefore, his willpower isn't anywhere near as strong as it would be by season 3, where he's finally figured himself out by the second half of the show, or second half of the season. Whereas Azula is kind of the opposite. She's at her scariest in season 2, but after season 3, and she kind of maintains that through the first half of season 3, but after the betrayal of Mai and Ty Lee, specifically around that point, the fear they have of her really starts to waver, because they're growing and she's remaining stagnant. She's always been a prodigy. It's not like she's necessarily getting weaker, but her mentality, especially near the end, her mentality is broken. She's less scary and more pitiful. I guess that's the best way to put it. I mean, she's still going to inspire fear no matter what, definitely, but her ability to inspire fear wanes in the latter part of season 3. Whereas Zuko's willpower gets stronger by the end of the series, to the point where if you have Azula, who is completely unhinged with a yellow lantern ring, yeah, it's going to be problematic. Yeah, it's going to be dangerous. But you get Zuko with the level of conviction he had at the end, fighting her, showed no fear whatsoever. There was no fear in that man's eyes. That was pure. He was just looking at her, just like, bring it. I am going to win. Like that was pure conviction there. And that would truly be the essence of a Green Lantern. He has overcome great fear, and now he's basically putting belt to ass, basically, on Azula. And literally, as a Green Lantern, he could do that. Just Green Lantern belt to ass. But if this were at the beginning of the series, let's just go season by season. There's 3 seasons. Season 1, Zuko versus Azula, as we know her in season 2, but that's probably how she is in season 1 also. Well, then, yeah, that's going to be Azula. In fact, season 1 Zuko at his weakest. He's still got a lot of willpower, no doubt. He's got a lot of conviction, but he's also teetering. He's also still struggling. He's also still not truly certain what he wants. He's too conflicted. Season 2 is where you might start to see a bit of a shift. Zuko definitely matures a little bit. His convictions, he thinks he ultimately knows what he wants, even though we know that in the end that's not what he wanted. But Azula, this is where we see Azula on full display. She'd still be too much with a yellow lantern ring. Her fear would still easily overwhelm him, and he'd ultimately still he'd put up an okay fight. I have no doubt he put up an okay fight. Whereas season 1 Zuko with a Green Lantern ring would not put up a good fight at all, to be frank. But season 3 is where where I have to go the opposite side of the spectrum. As we see them at the end of the series, Azula, quite frankly, has snapped. She's busted. She's broken mentally. She's lost some of her ability to intimidate and cause fear in others, which is where Yellow Lantern gets their strength from. Whereas Zuko has now risen to the point where he would be a very effective Green Lantern. And okay, sorry, there's kids coming up the street from school. I'm like, was that a crow I heard? So ultimately, yeah, I'd have to say Zuko would win because of where we end the series off, original Avatar. Zuko would be the ultimate winner here. But let's be fair. I think if we're looking at it from a percentage scale over the series, I mean, Azula's got a 2/3 win here. But at the end, when we're seeing them kind of at their final levels of strength, final levels of mentality, maturity, whatever, Zuko would take the ultimate win in the end. This is just my opinion, though. Let me know what you think. Put the comments below. Let me know. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.